So if you're a global marketer and they're looking at the UAE, you've got a really fascinating challenge on your hands. On one side, you have one of the world's most advanced digital economies. But on the other, the rules for building trust, well, they're deeply traditional. Your standard playbook, it probably isn't going to cut it here. Today, we're going to break down exactly how to build a content strategy that actually connects with the region's top executives.
Here's the game plan. We're going to start by digging into this unique trust paradox in the UAE. Then, we'll explore how trust is actually formed, what kind of content really has authority, and why audio is such a powerhouse. We'll wrap things up with the single most important strategy, what we call sovereign alignment, and then tie it all together into a framework for, literally, designing trust.
All right, first up, the UAE trust paradox. And this is the one concept you absolutely have to get your head around to succeed. We're talking about a place where the future is arriving at lightning speed, but business, it's still built on these age-old foundations of relationships and respect.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the contrast here. You've got this hyper-modern AI-first economy with total internet penetration. But at the exact same time, it's a high-context society where trust isn't a quick transaction. It's something that's built slowly, relationally. And that right there is why so much of that typical short, disruptive Western-style content just falls flat. It's trying to close a deal before a relationship even exists.
So, this is the main takeaway. If you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. In the UAE, you don't earn trust by performing well. You have to earn trust before you even get a chance to perform. Trust is the entry ticket. It is not the prize you get at the end.
Okay, so if trust is the ticket to entry, how do you actually get it? How is it formed? Let's dive into that because it means shifting our thinking from, transactional confidence to what really matters there, relational legitimacy.
And when you put the two models side by side, wow, the difference is huge. The typical Western model is linear, right? You perform, you show your value, and that leads to trust. The UAE model flips that completely on its head. Trust has to come first, and only then can you even think about engagement, a partnership, or a contract. It's a totally different business logic.
This quote from the source material just nails it. In the beginning, it's not about your tech specs or your awesome case studies. It's about how you conduct yourself, your cultural fluency, and whether you're aligned with local norms. It's your relationships that get you in the door.
So, how do you build these kinds of relationships? The key cultural metaphor to understand here is the Majlis. Now, this is a traditional council or gathering, but its principles, this idea of respectful, consensus-driven conversation, are woven deep into modern business culture. Getting this is the key to creating content that just feels right. So what does this Majlis idea mean for your actual digital content? Well, 3 things. First off, aim for consensus. Don't create content that attacks your competitors. That's seen as poor form. Second, practice hospitality. Give away your best ideas, your research, your insights. Give it all away before you even think about asking for a meeting. And third, respect hierarchy. Your tone should always be that of a peer or a trusted advisor, not like you're lecturing or talking down to them.
Okay, let's talk about the content itself. In a market that really values stability and deep thinking, what kind of content actually carries real authority with senior leaders? I'll give you a hint. It's not about being the loudest or the most disruptive voice in the room. Forget all that.
Now this is a total game changer. The UAE has literally created what you could call a reading economy. There's actual legislation that mandates time for professional reading within the government. Think about what that means. Long-form content isn't a luxury. It's a sanctioned, respected tool for making big decisions. That deep dive report you're thinking of writing, it'll actually get read.
But here's the catch. It can't just be any deep content. It has to be specific. Generic regional reports get ignored. Trust is built when you show you've done your homework. Use UAE-specific data. Don't just benchmark against other countries in the region. Compare the UAE to mature global markets like Singapore or the UK. And make sure you reference local regulations. That's how you signal you're serious and respectful.
And of course, you've got to use the right tool for the right job. Think of it this way. Strategic research reports are for the beginning of the journey. They're for building that initial credibility by framing the big picture problems. Technical white papers, they come later. They answer the how, all the nitty-gritty details of implementation and compliance that decision makers are really wrestling with.
And that leads us perfectly into our next section, conversation as content. This is where we see how that old-school spirit of the Majlis is being reborn in a very, very modern format. Audio.
The reason for this is actually pretty simple and practical. Think about it. Long commutes across Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and the other Emirates. They create these huge windows of time for listening. For a lot of busy executives, podcasts have become the most efficient way to learn, to reflect, and to stay ahead. You've got a captive audience that really wants to use their time well.
But, and this is a big but, quality is absolutely non-negotiable. In a market that values excellence in presentation, your production quality is a direct reflection of your credibility. Like the source says, poor sound implies poor thinking. You just can't afford to get this wrong. There are no second chances on a first impression.
So what should these podcasts even be about? Well, not your products. The most effective, most trusted shows focus on the personal journeys of respected local and regional leaders. When an executive hears a peer they admire sharing their real-world experiences, that trust is transferred by association to the brand that's hosting the conversation. See? It's the Majlis dynamic all over again. Validation through conversation among equals.
All right, let's move on to what is, honestly, the most powerful strategy of all. This is the ultimate trust multiplier. It's the thing that elevates a company from being just another vendor to becoming a true, respected partner.
Here's the big idea. Executives in the UAE aren't just looking for solutions to their own business problems. They are tasked with building the nation. So they're looking for partners who will help achieve that. When your content clearly shows you understand and are contributing to national goals, you are speaking their language at the highest possible level.
And you have to be specific about it. I mean, really specific. Don't just pay lip service to the idea. Reference concrete national priorities, like Vision 2031 or the Net Zero 2050 goal. Talk about how your work supports the national digital economy strategy or contributes to in-country value programs. This isn't just name-dropping. It demonstrates a deep, long-term commitment.
So, let's bring this all together. At the end of the day, the goal here isn't just to persuade an audience. It's much deeper. It's to demonstrate that your brand truly belongs in the conversation about the future of the UAE.
And this is the final crucial reframe for your thinking. Success in the UAE isn't about shouting the loudest or just publishing more and more content. It's not about volume. Trust is built through deliberate, thoughtful architecture. Every single piece of content, every event, every interaction, it all has to be part of a carefully designed structure.
And that structure, it rests on these 4 pillars. First, a deep and genuine cultural respect. Second, a clear sovereign alignment with the nation's goals. Third, a real depth of thought in your content. And fourth, an impeccable quality of execution in absolutely everything you produce. These 4 pillars, that's your blueprint. So I'll leave you with a final question to think about for your own strategy. Ask yourself this: is your content just trying to sell and persuade, or is it carefully designed piece by piece to show that you understand, you respect, and that you ultimately belong in the UAE's ambitious future? The answer to that question will make all the difference.